Welcome to the Visualize Meditations podcast, hosted by your friend Sasha Patil, a Chopra certified meditation teacher. The first step to creating the life of your dreams is to create a clear and compelling vision for what you want for the future. I'll be guiding you on visualization meditation so you can get clear on your deepest desires. Let's get started so you can turn your vision into a reality. Hi, hello, welcome back to another episode of the Visualize Meditations podcast. It's your gal pal Sasha. I'm here, I'm hanging out. I'm in sunny San Diego. I've been here now for about 6 weeks or so, a little over a month and a half, and I am loving it here. The sun is so good for my mental health. This work schedule is so good for my mental health. I'm finally cleared to work out again. After my surgery, I can finally work out. Things are feeling really good in most areas of my life, and we'll get into that later. But what I want to talk about today, this is probably the top request I've gotten for topics on the podcast, which is feminine cycle syncing. And there are so many resources out there about feminine cycle syncing and about how to sync your life up to your cycle and how to optimize your health, because let's be so real. We live in a world that is designed around a man's body. The 9-to-5 job, the way that we structure our lives typically leans around the body clock of a man. And, a man's body runs on a 24-hour clock. A woman's body runs on a 28 to 30-day clock. Personally, I read the book In the Flow by Alyssa VT and also Woman Code by Alyssa VT. Both these two books are incredible and their resources are amazing. There are so many resources out there about feminine cycle syncing, so if you haven't taken a look at those, I highly suggest reading those. But to sum it up for you and to tell you about my experience with it all, there are 4 phases to our feminine cycle, okay? And everyone knows about 2 of them. Everyone knows about your menstrual cycle and your ovulation, but there are actually 2 other cycles. So let's say you're on your bleed, you're on your menstrual, that's the end of your cycle. Right after your bleed ends, the next phase and the first phase is the follicular phase. And this will be like the first 7 to 10 days of your cycle. And all of these numbers vary based on you and your body's clock and what's happening with you. So be aware of that. For me, I know it's very week by week what my cycle is. The second phase after follicular is ovulation. This is obviously when you can get pregnant. There's so much more to each of these phases, and I'll get into it, but just to give you the overview. After follicular is ovulation. After ovulation is luteal, which is that week right before your period. We all know that week. We're emotional, we're crying, we're so hungry. And then you have your period and you have the bleed, and then we start the whole thing over again. So those are the 4 phases of your feminine cycle. The first half of your feminine cycle, the follicular and the ovulation phase, you're going to have a lot more energy. You're going to feel a lot more upbeat. And the second half of your phase, the second half of your month is going to feel way slower. You're going to have less energy and you're not as motivated to do these high energy intensity things. And there is a way to sync up each area of your life to each phase of the feminine cycle. For me, this prep took about 6 months for me to do. I wanted to go off the birth control pill years ago, and I knew I had to prep my body in order to do that because I was on the pill for a decade. So each month I tackled a different area of life to sync up to my feminine cycle. I highly suggest you do the same thing, because if you're syncing all of them at once, it can be really overwhelming to make all these changes at once. So I suggest tackling one area at a time per month until you get the hang of it, and then introducing a new area. So there are a bunch of different ways to sync up your feminine cycle. And obviously this goes without saying, is that life is lifing sometimes. So sometimes if you can't sync up your cycle because of a certain thing you have going on, or because of work, or because you have this dinner or whatever, life is lifing. It's not going to be perfect. It's not a perfect science, okay? This is perfect for my type A bitches. If you're a type B bitch, there are things that you can implement as well, because it just helps. You'll start to recognize that certain things feel really good with your body's natural clock. So the certain areas you can sync up with your feminine cycle are your work, your relationships, your food, your movement, and your mindset. Okay? I'm going to go through each phase of your feminine cycle and talk about the best way to optimize that phase with each area of your life. So let's chat about the follicular phase, the first phase of your cycle. This is right after your period ends. This is right after the bleed ends. And this phase, as far as your work goes, is great for brainstorming. It's great for collaboration. It's really good for scheduling and time blocking and planning out your month, quarter, year, whatever. It's really good for planning out and figuring out, oh, these are my goals. How am I going to achieve them? I'm going to do these things by these times. It's really great for that. As far as your foods go, think lighter foods, think salads, think like lighter meats, think naturally lighter foods. And there are lists online available about which foods specifically are good in each cycle. Personally, I like to rotate my grocery shopping based on where I'm at in my menstrual cycle. And I find that I'm naturally more drawn to those types of foods anyway. Like once you're kind of in tune with your body, you understand where you naturally lean and you'd be like, oh man, I'm craving this thing. Oh, that's because I'm in follicular. I'm craving chicken. Obviously, I want chicken and salad and just like really light foods that are not cooked super heavily. As far as your socialization and your relationships go, this is the best time to try new things. Go out and try something new that you never tried before. Try that workout class. Try that new restaurant. Like just try the new things. Go out and meet new people. It's a great time to try new things in your relationships and in your life. It's a great time for collaboration. It's a great time for like community and things like that. So it's a great time to kind of get involved in all of those areas of life for sure. For your workouts, for the first half of your cycle, it's going to be way more high intensity workouts. Now, again, these follicular is great for trying new things. So maybe this is the time you try that new workout. It's something high intensity, something you never tried before, something that really gets your energy and your blood pumping is great in follicular. I love the follicular phase. It's amazing. I'm like a planner. I like to plan things. I like to collaborate. I like to brainstorm. It's the time for me. I honestly love each phase of my feminine cycle for different reasons, and they always feel so good when I'm in the moment. As far as the next phase, which is your ovulation phase, this is the phase that everybody knows because it's the phase where you can get pregnant. So naturally, you're a horny motherfucker. Okay, I want to kiss everybody. I want to bang everything. I don't, but I want to. Okay. And this is the time that your communication is at its peak. You're going to feel the most magnetic in this phase. You're going to be a great communicator in this phase. So as far as your work goes, I would schedule any big meetings during this phase. I would schedule your negotiations, your reviews. I would schedule any big work events you have going on, networking, anything that involves communication. If you're writing something, write all your copy in this phase. If you're recording something, I record all of my podcasts in this phase. Specifically my meditations because I batch record them. So I record all of them in my ovulation phase just to make sure that I'm communicating in the most efficient way possible. So as far as work goes, anything that requires communication or anything that requires you kind of dealing with other people, great time to deal with that because you are naturally so magnetic and you are so clear and concise, and it's a great time to optimize that phase. As far as your food goes, same kind of thing as your follicular phase, lighter foods, naturally not cooked as long, salads, things like that, things that make you feel really good. I think salmon and shrimp are the meats that I typically eat in this phase. Again, there are lists online, so go and look at the lists. It's really helpful and you can optimize your grocery shopping that way. But it's really great for that. As far as your workouts go, again, something very similar to follicular, high intensity, high energy workouts, maybe your HIIT workouts, your running, your crazy weightlifting, things like that. Like you're really going to feel so amazing in your ovulation phase. Make sure to push it to the limit when you are in your ovulation phase for sure. As far as your socialization goes, again, this is the time you're magnetic. This is the time where you'll feel that people are naturally drawn to you. You'll want to go out. You'll want to socialize. You want to go for the dinner. You want to go meet your friends. You want to go on that date. You're tired of sitting at home. You want to go out and about. So I schedule parties during this time. Schedule anything that's like socializing and fun. Scheduling your ovulation. Absolutely. And again, life is lifing. So I find that ovulation is so great for my socialization. I always make sure that if I have friends and family I want to connect with once a month, I always make sure to follow up with them on ovulation phase. Anyone that comes to mind in my ovulation phase, I'm like, I'm going to send them a quick message. My phone is always blowing up during ovulation. the dozens and sometimes hundreds of notifications I have, so many people just know to reach out to me during ovulation. It's actually crazy. So if you need to communicate with somebody, or if you need to have a tough conversation with someone, this is also a great time to do it. If you're having some sort of conflict, or if there's something you want to address, ovulation is a great time to do it. I love all the phases, but this one is amazing. Now let's get to the second half of your cycle. Naturally, things tend to slow down during this phase of your cycle. And guys, there's so much science behind this, okay? It has to do with your hormones. It has to do with the way that things are moving in your body, okay? Go and do the research. I'm not a scientist, okay? I'm just here as a type A planner bitch to help you optimize your life based on where you at in your feminine cycle, all right? So we're getting to the second half of your menstrual cycle, which tends to be things slow down, okay? The third phase of your cycle is the luteal phase. I think this phase is the most polarizing phase of the feminine cycle because number one, you are going to be a moody motherfucker, okay? This is when my PMSing happens. This is like, oh, I feel so sad. I feel so angry. Why do I feel so sad and so angry for no reason? Or maybe something is pissing me off, but it's pissing me off way more than it normally would, or something's upsetting me, but I'm in hysterics crying instead of just feeling a little peeved about it. My emotions are really, really intensified by the luteal phase, specifically the negative emotions. So you might feel a lot more moody. You might have like lower energy and not as much tolerance to deal with people during this phase, and that's okay. So as far as your socialization goes, it's okay to say no to the party. Say no to the party. Say no to the going out if you're not into it and you're not feeling it. But again, life is lifing. So if you have something you have to go to, or if you have a meeting you have to attend at work or a networking thing, go do that thing. But maybe you can leave early. Maybe you can just minimize the time you're there. Maybe you just wear something a little comfier so you're just feeling a little bit better. First of all, this goes with all phases of the feminine cycle. Where you're at in your cycle will also determine how your body looks and feels as well. Like I find that the second half of my menstrual cycle, I feel way heavier. I feel way more bloated. My clothes are a little tighter. I don't feel as good in my body at least. So just make sure to take extra care and extra precaution. Maybe dress a little comfier. Maybe wear something that makes you feel a little bit better in your own skin. As like follicular ovulation, cool. Wear the big flashy outfit that's like gonna get all the compliments. But maybe in your luteal menstrual, like wear the comfy jeans or the sweats or something that's just gonna make you feel comfy and cozy in your own body because we all know it gets kind of gross during that time. You're also gonna be starving during the luteal phase. I feel like in luteal, I could eat everything. I eat everything. I want to get takeout. I can eat a whole ass meal and still be hungry. I swear to God, this happens every time. I'm like, why the hell am I still hungry? Oh yeah, it's right before my period. I could order 2 entrees and clean them both for sure. You're going to be really hungry in your luteal. And in the second phase of your menstrual cycle, you're going to eat more slowly cooked foods. So think like soups, stews, things that cook for a longer period of time. And it's like tends to be the heavier foods, like the heavier meats, like the red meats and things like that. So in luteal, I typically eat like turkeys and like do like a chili or whatever. Again, there are resources online. Go look at the full list online. But it's definitely slower cooked foods. As far as your workouts go, this is also where you're going to slow down your workouts as well. Picture more like yogas, walking, maybe like light Pilates, like things that aren't like super high intensity, high interval training workouts. These are like slower, more intentional movements. Picture like really heavy weightlifting, that's slow, intentional movements. Like you don't need rushing movements where you're like bouncing all back and forth, all around, running up and down, jumping, screaming. You don't need that in luteal. Absolutely not. And as far as work goes, luteal is my favorite phase because I get so much shit done in luteal. People don't love luteal because you're moody and you're hungry and you're not feeling great in your skin. But luteal is the best time for your work because you get all of that admin work done that you never want to fucking do. Accounting, do it in luteal. Have to finish that project around the house, do it in luteal. All of these things you keep putting off that are like these annoying admin work or the annoying like grunt work that is time consuming and frustrating. Oh my God, push it to luteal and you'll get it done like this. You'll get it done super, super fast, super, super snappy. It's amazing. I love luteal for this phase. Every small task that I need to do that just kind of gets swept under the rug, I brain dump it and I'm like, in luteal, purchase that thing I keep forgetting to get online, fix that thing in my bathroom that I keep putting off. All of these small things, do them all into luteal and it'll feel really easy for you to get it all done and get it all done quickly and efficiently. And that's the luteal phase, okay? Very polarizing. You know, you either love it or you hate it. Honestly, I love it and I hate it. And the last phase, oh, she's glorious. The period, the menstrual phase. We all know her. We all love her. Okay. And this is a phase where you should rest and relax and reflect. That's it. For your work, do the minimum, do the bare minimum. Again, life is lifing. Sometimes we have to do the thing, right? But like, do it at a level where you're protecting your energy. So any task that can be put off, put it off and designate that task for the phase of your cycle that makes sense for it. So is it a brainstorming thing? Great, put it in follicular. Is it a speaking thing? Great, put it in ovulation. Is it like an admin grunt work? Amazing, put it in luteal. Anything that can be put off, put it off in this phase. Do the bare minimum, rest and reflect. Reflect about your goals, reflect about where you were last month, reflect about what you want for the next month, the next year, your lifetime, whatever. Reflect on it and think about it and keep a list, because what you're going to do in follicular is you're going to take that list of things you reflected on and you're going to time block it out and you're going to plan out how you're going to do it. One thing I also want to mention too, while you're in reflection during your period, is that when you are on your bleed, you are closest to your truth. So if there is something that you're not sure about, if you're feeling indecisive, first of all, never make that decision in luteal. Never make a big life decision in luteal, because you're naturally more moody and you're naturally more critical. And I tend to be more self-critical in luteal, so I'll never make a big decision in luteal. I'll push it to my period and be like, I'm not going to think about this to my period. When my period comes, I'm going to allow myself to take the time and space and think about any big decision I have, anything I'm kind of on the fence about, anything I'm not sure about. I'm going to sit and think about it during my menstrual phase, because I know when I'm on my period, I am closest to my truth and I'm closest to what my intuition actually knows and actually feels. So I encourage you, any sort of reflecting, big picture thinking, do it while you're on your period, while you're resting, relaxing, rejuvenating. Take that time and think about your life and think about your goals and think about what can improve, things like that. And you'll implement in follicular through the next phase. So that's as far as work goes. As far as your socialization and your relationships go, do the bare minimum. Do the bare minimum. Say no to the thing. Or if you want to hang out with a friend, have them over for a movie night. If you want to hang out with people, try to do something slower. Try to have a movie night. Just try to have a cozy night in. Try to just chill out and just like veg out a little bit, because this is the time where you don't want to be going crazy. You want to just be like slowing down, resting, relaxing. So if you do have to hang out with people, try to make it as chill as possible. Or if you need to leave early, or say no to the thing in general. If you don't want to do the thing, say no during your period. You don't have to do it if you don't have to do it. Okay. So again, rest, relax, reflect. You don't need to be around other people. As far as food goes, this is typically when I eat beef. You're going to want the iron because you're obviously losing blood. And any like iron-rich foods are great. Again, look online. There are resources online for which foods to eat in which cycle, but also they're going to be slower cooked foods. They're going to be your soups, your stews, your chilies, things like that. So just slower, more intentional foods as well. You're not quite as hungry as you are on your luteal phase, but like, girl, chocolate is fucking necessary. It's fucking necessary sometimes, okay? And as far as workouts go, same kind of thing as luteal. And honestly, you could probably skip the workouts together. If you are dead set on movement, which I am completely, I typically do my walking during this phase. I'll like go for slow walks, or I'll go for weightlifting and do some really slow, intentional weightlifting movements. Nothing too crazy, no high intensity interval training, no intensity workouts, just really slow, intentional movements, just walking, resting, reflecting. Or if you want to skip the workout altogether, that's totally okay too. Your job in this phase is to rest, relax, take care of yourself, and chill the fuck out. Okay, so those are all 4 of the feminine cycle phases, and I encourage you to take one section every month. Like for example, your food, take 1 month and just focus on syncing your food. And maybe the next month you just focus on syncing your work or your workouts. So each month just pick one thing to focus on and one thing to sync up. And again, I've reiterated it before, but life happens. If you can't do this perfectly, it's okay. Even if you can sync up one thing, it's totally okay. I just find that if you're working with your body's natural clock, you're not forcing it to do the things that it just doesn't feel like doing. You're in more of a flow state. You're working with your body instead of against your body's clock. And one thing I will say is, for all of my unregulated girlies who have an irregular period, listen, I'm sorry, because I know that's really frustrating. The period is actually the 5th vital sign for women, or 6th. I don't know how many vital signs there are, but for women, it's your last vital sign that men don't have. Is your period regular? Is everything going well? So if you're an irregular girly, first of all, syncing up to your cycle actually does help regulate your body. So if you're irregular, this is kind of the first thing you can do to help get your body on its natural rhythm and cycle. And if you're irregular and you don't know where to start, sync up with phases of the moon. So you can sync up your feminine cycle to phases of the moon, because, oh my God, we are all powerful beings and we are so connected to the moon. It is actually fucking nuts. So sync up your phases to the moon. And also if you're in menopause or premenopause or anything like that, you can also sync up to the phases of the moon as well. And that helps kind of regulate your system and regulate your body in accordance to nature, because we're going to work with nature and not against nature. So I love feminine cycle syncing. I plan my whole life around it, honestly. And I find that it really, really, really helps me. And this is the top question I've been getting on this podcast since I started it is, how do you do your feminine cycle syncing? Oh my God, can you please talk about feminine cycle syncing? Here you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions about feminine cycle syncing, let me know. I'll answer them. And if I don't have the answer, I'll do research, or maybe I'll have a guest on and we can like get nerdy about the beautiful body of a woman. Okay. So that's that. As far as my personal update goes, I haven't been doing too hot. As far as my personal update goes, life has been great, but in this moment, I'm not feeling so great. And let me get into it. So in general, life is amazing. If I were to look at the wheel of life, which I do all the time on the Mastermind Moments podcast with my best friend Josh Glenville, if you haven't listened, go and listen. We base this all around the wheel of life. And if you haven't listened to my wheel of life episode where I chat about the wheel of life, go back and listen. But essentially it's like a big pie. Each slice of the pie is a different area of life. I have 12 different areas of life that I like to focus on. In general, wheel of life is so great and fulfilled right now. My friendships feel great. My family relationships feel great. I'm finally cleared to work out so I can work out again. I love my physical environment. I love being here in San Diego. My room is the coziest space ever, and I can be in here all day, all night, and I am in here all day, all night working, and just the vibes are great. What else? My mental health is great. My spirituality feels great. Everything is feeling great except for a couple of things. And those 2 things are my career is feeling great, but also not great. And my romance life is not going so great. So as far as my career goes, in general, career going great. I'm really putting in the inspired action right now. I'm really putting in the elbow grease, working towards my goal with the podcast. And then also in my 9 to 5, I'm like really putting in the elbow grease there, and it's feeling really good in work. As far as my 9 to 5 goes, my work is always very, very chaotic during the holidays. But now that the holidays are over, it's finally starting to go to a natural, more normal working level again. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. I've made mistakes. I've been making mistakes and I've been reprimanded for them, and I've been really beating myself up over it. I've been really having some pretty intense deconstructive self-criticism over it, and I'm getting better at it and just recognizing like, okay, you made a mistake. You can change, you can grow, you can get better at that, and you won't make that same mistake again. Honestly, I find that the mistakes I have been making, I tend to make over and over again. And I find that the root cause of them is that I'm not slowing down enough and pausing to be intentional about what I'm doing. And this does not just go with my 9 to 5. This is also just in my life in general. It's very important to me. I'm going to make the active choice right now to slow down, to speed up, to slow down, be more intentional, think about what I want to do, really sit in my feelings, really be slower and be more thoughtful in each and everything I'm doing before I'm rushing into action. Because my challenge before was that I felt like there was so much to do that I was just rushing to get everything done as soon as possible, because I felt like there was a mountain of to-dos on my back and a mountain of things that I had to get done before a certain period of time. And in reality, I really don't. Okay? Life is not going to fucking end. Nothing is on fire. It's totally fine. If there's one thing I trust in this entire world, it is my follow through. I know if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to get it done. But yes, it is about getting the thing done. And I trust my momentum and I trust my follow through. And at the same time, I want to do it right. I want to do it thoughtfully. I want to do it intentionally. I want to do it with care and with love. And I want to do that in everything in my life. I want to do that with my work. I want to do that with my relationships. I want to do it with my health. It doesn't matter. I just want to be way more intentional about that. So career in general, going great, because I'm really loving the amount of energy and love I'm pouring into my work right now. It doesn't really feel like work. It feels like career. It feels like purpose. It feels amazing. And I've also made mistakes, and I've been reprimanded, and I'm beating myself up over it because I feel like I'm fucking up, even though I'm not. And I feel like I'm not, quote, good enough, even though I am. It's difficult being fully remote in my job. Because of the nature of my job, I really only talk to people on my team when something's going wrong, and people on the team only talk to me when something's going wrong. So if I have team members reaching out to me and being like, oh my God, you're fucking up, and if that's the only thing I ever hear, it tends to compound and tends to wear on you. And right now it's wearing on me a little bit, where I feel like I'm not doing a good job, even though I am, because the only thing I'm hearing is criticism as opposed to praise, which who the hell is going to be like, hey, can you praise me? Like, no. Okay, do that for yourself. You don't need to ask other people for praise. It's totally fine. But it is difficult and it is challenging, and it's something that I'm going through right now. So I'm really working on that, really working on slowing down, really working on being kinder to myself and being like, it's okay, you made a mistake. Mistakes are okay as long as you learn from them. And I tell my intern this all the time. Mistakes are okay as long as you learn from them. It's just a lesson. It's just growing. It doesn't mean you're a fuck up, okay? And the other area of life that's not going so hot right now is my romance area, because it's kind of non-existent at the moment. I was crushing on somebody, and it's something that I had a chat about. If you didn't listen to the last solo sessions where I was following this 10-day rule and all the icks came out on day 11, go back and listen. But essentially, long story short, I realized with my therapist that all of my romantic encounters have gone from not knowing the person to being involved with them in 10 days or less. So I'm breaking that cycle and now not getting involved with anybody until I've known them for at least 10 days. And the last person I was majorly crushing on, day 11, I started to see some amber flags. And yesterday I got a pretty intense red flag, and I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty upset. Like, I felt like a fucking fool, okay? Let's chat about this story. We were driving back from a little weekend trip we took with a group of his friends, and on the way back, first of all, there were some amber flags that happened, which I talked about in the last solo session. But we were driving back and he's like, hey, like, how's your week looking? No, not too busy, like I have work, but that's it. Okay, great. Well, what, like, we were just chatting along. And later in the conversation, we were chatting about the neighborhoods that I hadn't seen in San Diego yet. And he's like, oh my God, we should totally hit this neighborhood. Let's go Wednesday. And I'm like, yeah, sure, sounds great. I finished work at 2. Like, I'm around. Today's Thursday. My ass yesterday was waiting for a text. And I was like, oh yeah, he'll text me. He'll text me before 2. Oh, he'll text me before 4. I'm sure he's going to text me before 6. Whatever. And my ass got ready. I looked so cute. I looked so good. I had my therapy that morning. The same thing I'm talking about with you guys is the same thing I talked about in therapy basically for the whole time. And he's like, does this guy know that you're into him? And I was like, no, but I think there are vibes there. And he's like, well, listen, like, if the conversation comes up, have a conversation with him. Like, you are writing endings to stories that have not even happened yet, because you're in your mind thinking about the ending of something before you even give it a chance to happen. And he's like, you are raising all of these amber flags based on these sly comments that people are making, as opposed to actually sitting down and having a real conversation with someone. And he's like, if the conversation comes up, have the conversation. You're really good at having these conversations. I am kind of a confrontational person. I love to sit down and have the real conversation, heart to heart, open and open. I don't want to sweep shit under the rug. I am sometimes honest, sometimes a little too brutally honest. And it's a blessing and a curse. The blessing is that I can sit down and have really difficult conversations, and that does not scare me. The downside of that is sometimes other people don't want to have the difficult conversations, or sometimes I'm a little too blunt or a little too harsh, and that can happen sometimes. But I was ready to sit down and have a conversation and be like, yo, I'm into you, and there are some concerns that I'm seeing here, but whatever, doesn't matter. I was ready to have that conversation. Not that I was like looking to have it, but I was ready for it. And I got ready. I was looking cute. We had a plan. We had a plan of where we were going. We had a day and we had an activity, but we did not have a time. And I sat around and I waited and I waited and I waited. Did I ever get a text? No, I never got a text. And if it was just a friend, I would have texted them and I would have been like, hey, are we still on for tonight? Are you still good for tonight? But yes, he's a friend, but he's a friend that's a potential romantic interest. And I hate to play games. I don't want to play games with people, but the rules are kind of different for this kind of game. And I didn't hear from him. And I was feeling pretty bummed out, honestly. Like, I had a shit day at work and I was really looking forward to seeing him for like 3 days. I was really looking forward to connecting with him and hanging out and just like having a grand old time because I just love hanging out with this person, and nothing happened. And I was feeling really disappointed and really bummed. But again, you get what you need and not what you want, because the universe wanted me to do something else last night. And I was like, you know what my consolation prize is? I'm gonna go get some motherfucking pizza down the block, and I'm gonna hit my little weed pen a little bit, and I'm gonna watch the new Call Her Daddy Hillary Duff interview because, oh my God, you guys don't even understand. You guys don't even understand. I was the biggest Hillary Duff fan when I was a child, okay? I had posters of her all over my room. She was my first concert. I fully cried when I went to her concert for the first time. Like, I am a Hillary Duff stan, okay? And the fact that she's resurfacing on the internet brings me so much joy. You don't even understand. And I know that this was a big deal for Alex Cooper too, because I know Alex Cooper also really loved Hillary Duff, and she said it in past episodes that she wanted to have Hillary Duff on. So it was a huge deal for the podcast, and it was a huge deal for me. And I sat down and watched that whole interview, and I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go get pizza and I'm gonna watch Call Her Daddy and eat pizza in bed. But you know what? I was about to leave to go get my pizza, and I ran into one of my housemates. And I was like, hey, do you want to go get pizza with me down the block? She's like, yeah, sure. So I went and had pizza with my housemate. Like, I had a chance to sit down and have a real conversation with her and chat with her about my day and chat with her about her life and build this really beautiful new connection. And then we came back, we sat down in the kitchen, we hung out, we chatted with other housemates. And then I went and hung out in bed, ate Reese's peanut butter cups, and watched Call Her Daddy. And I turned the night around, but I was still feeling really disappointed and bummed. And I had a rough day yesterday, I'm not gonna lie. And today, you know what I did? I fucking cried. I cried so much. And I don't think it was just me crying over like this crush thing that I think is kind of over, which is like a form of grief, right? Like grieving over this kind of crush thing that I was having that I think is very clearly not going to happen. Because it's like, is it 3 strikes you're out? Like, there were already 2.5 amber flags and 1 red flag. I still haven't heard from this motherfucker. It's been days. Okay, fine. But I cried today, and I was just having all of these emotions about the work stuff and about the crush stuff. And I have a folder of playlists on my Spotify, and I have a folder of all my playlists for different boys. And I've archived or deleted a lot of them. But every kind of boy that I'm thinking of or whatever, he gets a playlist for the most part. And I just basically took all those playlists and put them all on shuffle. So I was having songs from my ex come up and songs from my summer fling come up and songs from this guy come up. And I was just like letting it all come to the surface and processing through it all and just like letting the tears fall down, because the tears just really needed to happen. It's been a long time since I've had a good cry. And obviously the songs that give me the most are the ones on the playlist about my ex, because that's like not the deepest wound, but kind of the deepest wound. I mean, like, sure, you can cry for a second over a crush, but like, oh my God, So Long London by Taylor Swift, oh, gets me. I'm like stroking my arm, being like, you're okay, poor baby, it's totally fine, like, cry it out, okay? And I connected with a couple people, a couple friends over it, because I was feeling pretty disappointed and pretty bummed about this, and I was really liking this guy, and this was the first time I'd liked somebody based on our common interests and common values, as opposed to just like physical attraction and just based on like pure chemistry. This was a lot deeper than that, and I was really into him. Oh well, it's a crush, and sometimes the thing about crushes is that you get fucking crushed. So whatever, it is what it is. I think it was really important to allow myself to feel the feelings, and just instead of just shoving them down, just like letting them happen. Like, I know there's a lesson, I know there's a bigger reason from the universe why this thing isn't or hasn't worked out, but I don't know what that thing is yet. And I was talking to my really close friend Danny, and we had him on the Mastermind Moments podcast, Danny Curtis, and he was like, listen, he's like, I know there's a lesson, but I haven't finished the class yet, so I don't know what the lesson is. And you know what? That's goddamn right. I don't know what the lesson is yet. I know it's there, I know there's a big reason for it, but I don't know what the lesson is yet. But I didn't finish the goddamn class, so I don't need to know right now. All I need to know right now is that I'm feeling hurt in my heart and disappointment, and just was feeling sad today, and I just let myself feel that thing. I let myself feel the emotion. Or alternatively, it could be just me going into luteal. That's very possible. Where I'm just like going into luteal and feeling extra emotional right now because I'm moving into that phase of my feminine cycle. See, it all comes back to the feminine cycle. It all comes back to the feminine cycle. Anyway, if you guys have been crushed by a crush, will you please leave a comment and tell me the story, because it's going to make me feel a lot better about being kind of stood up. And also, if you were me, would you have texted him or not? Because I went back and forth on it, and I was like, if it was a friend, I would have, but this feels like it could be more than friends. So, is it that, like, if he wanted to, he would situation? I kind of hate that, but also, like, it's kind of true. Like, if he really wanted to see me, he would have made it happen. Whatever. Too bad, because I've been hanging out with him so much in this last month. It's actually been crazy. I've seen him so much. He's been, like, basically the core piece of my social circle in San Diego, which I have a lot of friends and family here, but he's been really consistently around. So I'm feeling kind of bummed, but in general, life is great. I'm just feeling a little down today. That's all. Here's a PSA, is just feel your feelings. Don't shove them down. Feel it to heal it, baby. Anyway, those are my thoughts and my feelings, obviously. It's been a long while since I've been sharing openly about my love life on the podcast, and if you guys enjoy it, let me know, and if you want me to shut the fuck up about it, let me know. I don't want to share about my love life too much on here. I don't know. I'm just still trying to sort out the boundaries around it. This is something I was reflecting on in my period, is like, what are my boundaries around sharing? What's the difference between me as a person and me as the brand? Again, still thinking about all these things and still trying to navigate that as that comes up, but this is kind of what's top of mind right now, so that's why I'm recording what's happening. And it's also, the verbal processing is helpful for me. Anyway, we'll catch you guys next week on the Visualize Meditations podcast. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Visualize Meditations podcast. Please follow, subscribe, leave a review, all of the good things. If you want to connect more, you can find me on TikTok and Instagram at Visualize Meditations. So what are you waiting for? Get out there, create the life of your dreams, and we will see you next week.